Bra! Welcome to another unauthorized and rum-fueled treasure hunt in the sharky waters surrounding Gatsby Islands with Queen Raae! I'm your host, Captain Olavia, and this is the pirate Princess Lillian! And today we'll be digging into bug number 102 of the Gatsby-remark-oembed. Check description below.
Yeah. You can head on over to GitHub if you want to see what we'll be working on today. So let's get our little Tinkerbeller so that I can remember. So what? We'll be fixing a bug in the Gatsby Remark-oembed plugin. It's one of my oldest plugins. It's from 2018. I started the work on that. And why are we fixing this bug? Because I am in bug fixing mode. So I fixed two bugs that are kind of in the same area of the code as this bug. And we are gonna fix it. The how is that we're gonna fix it by understanding Markdown abstract syntax trees. So this is why I haven't said so much about exactly what we were gonna do, because I'm gonna do some background first into what this plugin actually does and the bug and some information about how Markdown transformation work and how they work, especially in Gatsby. So I think this is going to be pretty interesting.
Yes.
If you're watching us over on the Twitters, join us on YouTube so you can join in the conversation in the chat here. Okay. So let's share my screen and we'll start having a look. Are you leaving us, Ola, since you're waving, or are you just waving? We can't hear you. Okay, so here is the bug report. As you can see, maybe not that interesting. For you, I managed to reproduce it. So here it is reproduced. Warning, validate DOM nesting. A div cannot appear as a descendant of a paragraph. And this is the example. So I made now a very limited example site for the Gatsby Remark-oembed plugin that only kind of takes one Markdown file, as you can see here, and it takes a link. So this is a standalone link in our Markdown code, and it turns that into the embedded YouTube video. So we don't write any of the code here saying that this is an iframe. All we do is, oh, this was a different project. Here we go. In our test content. So this is the content that transforms into this HTML or HTML. So we have an intro here with a link. There's another link and a third link. And as you can see, it's only the link here named another link that is kind of, I call it a standalone link. It stands on its own line. And those are the only ones that we wanted to transform into its oembed counterpart. If you want to read more about oembed, go to oembed.com. It's a protocol where you send in a link. So we send the YouTube link to the YouTube oembed endpoint, and we get back information about what its embed version should look like. And in this case, it's an iframe. But we're getting this little problem where it's saying, well, there's a div and stuff, and it shouldn't be a descendant of our paragraph. So this is where we need to dig more into Markdown, how Markdown is parsed and how it's done in Gatsby. So what happens with Gatsby, it's that we have the, in our config, we are first sourcing the file, the Markdown file. we are then transforming all of the content nodes that are files that are type Markdown. We're using the Gatsby transformer remark to do work on those nodes and do kind of a transformation from Markdown to HTML. And this plugin, the transformer remark, can take a sub plugin. So for every Markdown node, it runs, or for every file node that is a Markdown file, it creates a Markdown node. And for each of those Markdown nodes or Markdown nodes, it runs the code that we have here inside of the gatsby-remark-oembed. And the gatsby-remark-oembed goes through the Markdown, finds these standalone links as the oembed endpoint for its oembed counterpart, and then replaces the link with its oembed counterpart. So to understand this a little bit better, I created a little drawing here. So what we get, this is the kind of the string version of the Markdown content. And then the Gatsby transformer remark plugin takes this string of Markdown and turns it into a Markdown abstract tree. I always called it MDAST, but obviously it's MDAST, Markdown Abstract Syntax Tree. Oh, I forgot the syntax here. So syntax trees are a very nice way of kind of, well, I guess visualizing in this case, but it's a very kind of structured way of representing content, in this case Markdown content. So instead of doing kind of a lot of like regexing and stuff, or like string replacement on the Markdown string, we can do work on this abstract syntax tree. And as you can see, this very little text, like this very little Markdown here, becomes quite a large tree. So we'll see if you want to go through this with me, Ola. So it always starts with a root. And then
why is it called a root?
It's the root of the tree. So in node structures, or in tree structures in computer science, the top node is always called the root. And then these end ones that don't have any children are often called leaves.
So
and
then
the other
tree
ones
is
are branches.
upside down.
Yes, the tree is upside. I didn't think. Yes, the tree is upside down. The trees are usually always upside down in our description. It's a hanging tree. Those are very popular. Hanging Christmas trees are actually very popular on Pinterest. I saw this season.
There is a hanging tree in the Hunger Games.
Oh, it is.
Yes, she's got this song that she's singing. You know what's her name? The Mockingjay. She's got this song that she learned, from her father, and she in the book, especially in the audiobook, it's the I think they have the actress singing it or something.
Oh, I'm gonna pull this down a little.
She tries to explain the whole thing, because it's just like this. In the beginning, you just think, oh, it's just something, and then it just becomes worse and worse and darker and darker.
I don't know if it gets darker and darker.
Okay.
No, so we start with the root just to have something, connected. So that's kind of, you could say that's the file, or like it's the root. And then it's each of these lines is its own node. So this first line is a paragraph, this second line is a paragraph, and this I guess not and then these third and fourth line here together form a list. So the first level of nodes is so we're saying that this Markdown is a paragraph list. And then inside of this first paragraph, there's text, then there's a link, and then there's a little bit of text. So this text node over here is actually only this exclamation point. And then it's another paragraph that only contains a link. And then there's a list that contains a list item or two list items. And then we can go further down the tree, and we see that, okay, text is kind of as far down as we could go. A text node cannot have any children, it looks like. But then a link node has a child that is text. So here I've only written the nodes out, but a link node has a key on it, or a field called URL. So on this link, you could do link.url, and you will actually get this URL. And then when you go into its child text, the text inside the text.value would be a link to text in here. So different nodes have different fields on them. So you need to know that a link node will always have a URL field on it. A text node would always have a value field on it. And then for these list items, I don't remember exactly, but at least they have children. So it's got a paragraph child, and then the paragraph has a link child, and then the link child will then have a URL field on it, and then it will have a text child, and the text child will have a value on it. So in this case, this is our first list item. The text will be a third link. And then for the second list item, the text will be some text. So this is a way where we can represent our Markdown in a way that is more structured. And what we often do with these syntax trees is that we do transformations on them. So we walk, it's called walking. We walk through every node in this list, and there's different ways of walking. You can walk root all the way down to a leaf, and then back and all the way down to a leaf. And I remember this from university. There's like different ways of walking, but we often don't have to write these walking algorithms ourselves because there is like a bunch of different algorithms ready for us, so we can walk through all of the lists. So a problem that I had that I fixed is that just a couple of days ago, the list item would also be recognized as a link, oembed link that we would want to transform. So if we go back to our example, like even inside of this link, a third link, this would also turn into the YouTube oembed. And that's because I was just asking every link inside of a paragraph to become, to be transformed into its oembed counter or oembed, its oembed version. So I asked all links inside of paragraphs, but that didn't really make, that is not correct, because we don't want to, or at least I don't want links inside of list items to be transformed into its oembed counterparts. I only want links that are inside of a paragraph that is, which parent is root and where it's the only thing. So we don't want the link that we can see here that's like in the middle of the text. We don't want that to be transformed into its oembed counterpoint. And we never had that bug. But I had the bug where this link that is a child of a paragraph, that's a child of a list item, that was transformed into its oembed counterpart. So I fixed that bug. It was also a bug where if it's an image and there was a link around an image, I would also kind of remove that image and turn it into its oembed counterpart. And I don't want that. There's a use case for that, but I don't want that either. So I fixed those two bugs. And that's when I realized why this bug appears. Because what I am doing is that I am transforming the link node into its oembed counterpart. So it's still a child of a paragraph. We're not changing out the paragraph. We're only changing out the link. So when we are getting content back that are iframes or divs or block quotes and stuff like that, we don't want them to be the child of a paragraph. We want to actually swap out the whole paragraph. So this is our case here. These two or these three, I want to swap out this whole branch with its oembed counterpart, not just the link and its text child. I want to swap out the whole paragraph. So let's jump into the code. Or do you have any questions? This is quite complex stuff. I'm trying to practice.
Are you going back to this tree thing drawing later?
I think I'll keep having it up so that we can keep seeing it.
I have a question for later, though.
Okay. There's some kind of weird noise in the background for you.
I am trying. I have this here. I don't know if you can see it.
Now it's better.
I turned it off.
Oh, cool.
You see this here?
Oh, it's the fan.
It's a pretend fan. It goes around. It makes noises, but there's not actually any wind coming from it. So I'll just turn it off.
So I guess one thing I can do to visualize this better is that our current solution then will take this link node and turn it into what's called an HTML node, and that removes its text, its children. This is what happens now, but what I want to happen is that I want to go one step further. I want the paragraph to become the HTML node, and kind of remove the whole branch below it.
But why?
Because a lot of the time this HTML coming back is not something that should be the child of a paragraph when it gets turned into HTML later on. It should be on a root level. So that's why.
It becomes, it ends up in the wrong place.
Kind of ends up in the wrong place. And for the solution as of now, I just use this like HTML node as a catch-all, because then I can just like put HTML in there. But I've been digging into the unified ecosystem, and I realized, oh, not the unified side effects of drugs.
Pseudo opere peprepin. That sounds bad.
There we go. Unified JS. So that it's a whole ecosystem of how you can work with structured data. So what we're doing here is that we're taking Markdown, we're making it into a Markdown syntax tree. Then it's made into an HS, which is a hypertext syntax tree, and then that is transformed into HTML, an HTML string that we can actually use on our site. But you can do it on there's like all kinds of different parts to this ecosystem, and it's really interesting. I'll probably like do more work on this and share more of that as I learn, because it's a little confusing to begin with, but when you start understanding that these are trees and you can do transformation on the tree and then transform it into a different tree, and then make it into a string again, there's like all kinds of things that we can do when we learn that. So there's kind of the natural language, there's a graph kind of ecosystem, there's an HTML ecosystem, and a Markdown ecosystem. And then you could probably, like if you want to make something, you could always make your own tree and then show how can you transform that tree into HTML or natural language, and you kind of make that, you can make the code for that transformation yourself. Anywho, very interesting. So let's go back. So I've actually, I've done some work on this plugin over the last couple of days, but I haven't been digging into the solution to this problem. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. So what I want to do now is that I have a select possible oembed links function that walks through the Markdown est, the abstract syntax tree, the mdest. And it uses something called util visit parents. So it means that it goes through every node and it keeps information about its parents. And that's what I didn't have before. I just walked through them and checked, oh, I'm a paragraph or I'm a link inside of a paragraph. I'll just like fix that. But now I have like more information. So when we get to, we need to go back to our how it is in text tree. So I walk through everything. I get to this link node. So it's a link. I see I only want to visit link nodes. So I visited all the link nodes. And then when I'm on a link node, I check to see if its ancestors are 2. So 1, 2, paragraph root, only 2 ancestors. Then I know that it's at the location close to the root. And then I check that the first ancestor, this is or I guess the second ancestor, this is 0, then first. So the second ancestor is a paragraph. And then I check to see that the second ancestor, this paragraph, only has 1 child. Because otherwise I would match this one. Because you can see the link is at the same level as the link over in this paragraph, but this paragraph has multiple children because it's a text with a link inside of the text. So we don't want to match that. We only want to match this link that is a child of a paragraph, that's a child of a root. And that only, and then I want to check that it only has text as its child. So if there's an image in here or something else inside of the link, I don't want to match that either. So that's what I'm checking here. The node children's length is 1, and then I'm checking that it's of type text. And if all this is true, I'm saying this is a possible oembed link node. I still don't know if this link is an actual oembed type link, but it could possibly be one. It's a standalone link. It's one of these standalone links. And then I push the node onto a list. And then later on, I do the transformation. I transform this node. I get the node, I get the oembed result, and I transform it. So I delete all its children, and I say that now you should be of type HTML, and then I say that the value should be the HTML results coming from the oembed endpoint. And then we're just doing some very silly and easy changing here, where we say the iframe should be loaded lazy. And that's if it has HTML, and if it doesn't have HTML, it's a photo, and we do something else, but let's not care about that now. So what I'm saying is that I don't want to actually do any changes to the link node. I want to do changes to the link node's parent, but I don't have any information about the link node parent here where I'm doing this transformation. So when I'm selecting my possible oembed links, I think I need to then also pass on the parent. And then inside of this transform link node to oembed node, I need to work on the parent and not on the link node. Does that make sense? He's muted.
Yes, it makes sense. I just had to tell the princess that she needs to eat her food.
Yeah. So let's make this an object instead. So we'll do link node, and then we can do paragraph node, or parent node. Let's do parent node. And that would then be ancestor number 2, which is in list place 1. Okay.
Yes.
And let's see if it's what we get here now in the trans. Oh, we also have to fix this for our, well, let's not fix that for our different. Anyway, let's just work with the standalone links. Then we go to the transform link node, and then we have that this is changed into an object that has link node and parent. No, let's do paragraph node. It's even more specific. Paragraph node. So link node and then paragraph node. Paragraph node. Paragraph node. Paragraph, and then we have link node. Okay, so what we want to say here then is that, okay, with paragraph, we're actually going to swap out the paragraph node and not the link node. So we'll do paragraph node type, paragraph node value, and then we'll delete its children. So that should be good. And we probably don't need the link node there. But I'm seeing here that we're getting the oembed result. So in somewhere we're fetching the oembed result, and that will have to use the value coming from the link node and not the paragraph node. So let's go back to like our main code to the flow here. So we are selecting possible link nodes, and then we are processing that node for each node. Nodes. So this is node. So these are now objects. I don't know what to call them at the moment, but node. So let's see, process node. So get provider endpoint for link URL. So it's no longer now on the node, because here we now have link node and then paragraph node. Paragraph node. So we'll do the link node URL, and then we do our transform link node to oembed node, and we'll send in the link node and the paragraph node. I might change the signature of this after, after the stream to make it a little bit better, but I think that should be it, actually.
Yes.
So when we are creating sub plugins for the Remark plugin, we actually only export a main function from index.js, and then when Gatsby remark transform remark does its on create node and checks if it's a markdown node, or I think maybe when it creates it. Anyway, it calls this function. So we don't use any of the lifecycle functions in here. We only export this main function, and then the Gatsby transformer remark plugin is in charge of fetching this. So let's see if this works. I do have some tests. Let's not run the tests now because that would be bad. Let's do yarn, clean, and then do yarn, develop, and let's see if this works better.
Okay, take that tree back.
Yes.
So this is what we in Norway we call a family tree.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like the number one ancestor, the number 0 ancestor up there is not actually Adam and Eve, it's God.
Yes.
Because it's 0. So then,
yes.
So then you have like Adam, Eve, and the apple. Those are the 3 first children.
Mm-hmm.
But isn't it weird that each child can just create a child on its own without kind of working together with another? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess that's where it's not a family tree, but an actual tree. So it's a branch, and then a branch can,
you have
can
branches of family trees. How does that work? I know.
In family trees, they usually just like add somebody over here that comes from a different family.
Yes, and they're not in the tree. Actually,
they're not in the tree. That's true. Actually, they're not in the tree. They're often just like added little things on the side here.
Yeah, so that's why you can't do incest, because it will mess up the logic of the tree.
Exactly.
Yes,
that's why. Good. That's why.
Okay, so it's a family tree. Very good.
Yeah. Okay, let's have a look at our code. And then
success.
Let's have a look to see if this is now not giving us this problem.
Bug. It says bug, but that's not actually a bug.
Yeah, this is just an example to and it looks like we are getting no errors. And if we head into the tree, so this is also a tree, right? So here you have an article. The article has a child of h1, p, and a div. And now you can see there's no p around the div. So the div gets to be on its own, and that's what we wanted.
Yes.
So it's working.
Yes.
So now, now that it's working, we clean up the code.
Okay, just
so fix works for standalone links. So let's make a little bit of, oh, did I forget to? Oh yeah, we're getting some errors here. So let's do our select possible oembed links. We did the link node and we did the paragraph node. And then for our inline code, I am not really sure how to fix like how that should be. Because it's so let's just not give it a parent so that it doesn't work on the parent. So we'll do link node, no possible link node push node. Link node. Are we creating a node? Yes. Link node.
Yeah. Yep, that's right. Link node. Great.
Okay. And then select possible oembed link nodes. But now we are also giving the parent, so we should call it something else. Possible link nodes. Could I push something else? No, let's push a object. Get the link node. We got the paragraph node. So let's just do select possible oembed nodes. No. I don't know what to call that now. But we have to change the test at least. because it's gonna find to match, and then link node to match.
Yes.
Link node. Link node. Ooh, but you know what?
No.
Instead of finding the link nodes, we could find the URL that is needed, and then we can pass or just pass the node that should be transformed. Because what I didn't kind of tell you is that we have one case where it's a standalone link, and then we also have inline code where you are much more specific and where you want to have your link. So instead of doing, where's my markdown? Where's my markdown?
Okay, I need to say something to the princess here.
Well, I'm just going to skip over the inline code. But instead of possible link nodes, let's push the node to be transformed. So that would be ancestor. And then we'll give it the URL that it should use to transform, and that should be from the link node. Yes, that's much better. So we're pushing the node and the URL. So here then, let's push the node to be changed. It's still the node, and then the URL should be what we are giving into the node here. Split, join. What am I doing here? Prefix, rest, blah, blah, blah. Well, this is the URL. So this would be the URL. There we go. So we're pushing the node and then the URL. The node we want to change, and then the URL that we found. So in our tests now, if we have this nice markdown, we should still get the same amount of links, and the node should still match. There should also be a URL on there. So the URL should be...
Där kan man. Did you hear that?
Yes, I heard that.
I heard that. In Norwegian, very good. It's very good.
It's very good that I was in Norwegian.
Yeah,
if somebody in Norwegian is watching this.
Now finally the princess is going to eat.
Yeah.
She's been
so
writing
the
photographs.
The node is no longer the link node. It's going to be a paragraph node. Paragraph node. And let's not match much on it. And it's going to find 2 of those. Now I just keep we have fixed it. Now I'm just fixing all the other stuff that you need to fix when you do this kind of work. Okay.
But maybe you can stop and summarize what you fixed first and then go on.
I think always the summary should be at the end, but we can quit soon.
No, that's fine. Let's do that. Let's do it.
Let's see. Yarn.
Bra jobba, kompis.
Yarn test. You can run through a test. Some of them should fail, and some of them should not.
Whoa.
Oh, but which one? Let's do our watch instead. It's much better. Gatsby-remark-oembed, yarn test, watch. Yep. What is to match object? Received has value. Oh, not match object, of course. It is just to equal. to be. I guess it's the word. To be or not to be. Da, 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 da. Yeah, okay, it works. And then select only links that have inline with prefix. So it's going to be node, because here we're going to keep the same node, but we also expect there to be a URL. So we expect the URL to be, and it should be the tweet here.
Tweet.
Tweet, tweet.
Tweet, tweet.
Tweet, tweet. Oh, it's not working. Oh, yeah, because it's not gonna give me back the URL there. It's only gonna give me back the URL in the next one. Yep, it is working.
Yes.
Yep, yep, yep.
I'm actually getting the sunshine in here now, right through my window.
Are you getting sunshine?
That's not very often.
I can boogie. Wait, is there sunshine in that song? Because, yeah, sunshine. I can boogie. Boogie la na 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 na. I'm very singy today.
Yeah, that's good.
It's good.
It's good. I'm looking into creating a new text for happy birthday.
Okay. How's that text gonna be?
I don't know. But I have the melody here.
Okay.
So then
you have the, oh yeah, that's okay, of course.
That is happy birthday. So I already have let's
you want something? Okay. Whoever is watching, say hello in the chat, because I can see somebody is watching.
But yeah, I'm going to make a new song. So it's for my new story, or it's actually the same. It's kind of the same story, but yeah, I want to start it out with a song, because I want to have it kind of musically, so that maybe I can get Alistair and his band to perform it at some point.
Ooh.
And I have different melodies, so I already made one song from, the Jokke song, The Sun is Shining, and I Feel Okay, meeting you today, na 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 na, and then we have to do something about the text, because the rest of the text is not safe for work. It's very unsafe for work, and yeah. And that is funny, because if you have a new text, some people will still remember the text, and they'll be like, wait a minute. I remember the text, yeah. And also I'm looking into some Queen songs.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, because Freddie was a real pirate, just like Jokke was a real pirate. He was a real pirate.
Okay, so now we have the node. Let's see if we got some more code, and then we go to transform link node, and we have the node we want to change, and we have the URL, but we don't need the URL here. We just need the node and the oembed result. So node, and then let's delete children. Let's delete, well, we're deleting children in both of these, so let's just do that there. No, oh no, let's not. Okay. Because here, if there is no oembed result, we just send the node on through without doing any changes. So that's good. So now I need to change the tests for that one. I guess you should, change the test first. But yeah, we didn't. Transformed node. Okay, let's do node is original node.
Level up tuts. It's Scott Tolinsky.
Let's see if it still works.
Yes, let's do it. That would be nice.
That would be nice.
Good night. That would be nice.
Good nice. Good nice. And next week, we'll have
Yes.
Pierre on, who is the
Yes.
founder of Scraping
Scraping
Bee.
bee.
So that's going to be super interesting.
Yes, he is being around scraping up stuff from places where it's not so easily to just use the API. Is that?
Yeah, places. Yeah. So any site, you can scrape information from any site, and there's also some nice things with Scraping Bee that lets you. They will also run JavaScript for you and stuff like that. So you can scrape pages that also rely on JavaScript.
Maybe that's what I should do with my old WordPress site then.
When you own the data, there's no point in doing that.
But when I use the thing, I always get so much stuff, Yeah.
I know. We'll figure it out.
This video is from you in your mother's cabin.
Yes, the old cabin. The one we don't have anymore.
Bye cabin.
Bye cabin.
It's a modern way of living. Our parents' generation, they always wanted to own a lot of shit.
Well, I wouldn't call it shit, but they wanted to own a lot of stuff at least.
Okay, I call it stuff then. They wanted to own it. That was very important to them.
Oh my god, this is taking its time. Ba-bam, ba-bam, bam, ba-bam.
Okay,
oh, we need to clear
trees,
first also.
You have HTML tree also. And that's maybe the one that people are most familiar with, don't you think?
Yes. So what it actually does is that it then takes this Markdown abstract tree, and then we have changed our paragraph now into HTML.
Yeah.
Boom. HTML. We deleted all the kids. So boom, no kids. Oh, let's not save it.
I mean, yes.
Yes, no kids. What Gatsby transformer remark does next is that it takes this tree and it uses some of the unified packages to make this into a HS, and then this becomes a P element.
Yes.
And this becomes whatever is inside of the HTML, and it like branches into a tree. This becomes a UL element, and then this becomes the LI, HTML tag. But it's still not like stringified like we see it in our inspector. It's still kind of in a node, or what's called node tree format. And then when you go from the HS, you can stringify it, and it becomes HTML as we know it and would write it ourselves.
And our Gatsby pages, they're all just HTML and JavaScript out there.
In the end, it's HTML and JavaScript. Yeah. So with the MDX plugin, I don't think you actually, inside of your React component, you're not saying like, hey, let's grab this HTML and put it on the page like we do when we use the Markdown plugin. You actually get you get one of these trees, and then you send it into an MDX component that knows how to render the tree. So you're kind of sending that tree information in, that MDX information, into a component that then knows how to render the tree. While when we're in Markdown land with Gatsby, we often get that outputted HTML, and we send that into our component.
Yes.
I think maybe you can do that for Markdown as well, but
I say R.
Now we're actually R, because now we're actually in Markdown or in MDX land. So if we look at this, no, they have an HTML option as well, but you can look at this MDX ast here, or it would be MD ast when we're in Markdown land. And as you can see here, this is the tree that I've drawn here. So you have the paragraph with the text child and the link child. So that would be this, paragraph, text, link, text. So it's got its children, text, link. And then that link has a child that's called text. And then we head on over to the other paragraph that has a link and that has a text. And this is before we've done our transformation. And then there's the list with the list item, with the paragraph, with the link. So this is similar to our drawing here.
Yes.
To this drawing here.
Yes.
That would be this. So that's the kind of original abstract syntax tree that our transformer plugin has made. And then we have done changes on it. So before it gives us the HTML, it will have done that change where it's taken that paragraph node and changed it into its oembed counterpart.
Yep.
Yep.
I love it.
But I don't know why this is taking so. Oh, there's something wrong with this. I'm suddenly in the MDX land, and the plugin doesn't really work with MDX at this point. But anyhow, do you want us to summarize?
Yes, please. Yes, please. I would like it.
Boom! It's the little tasker bell. So what we have been working on the bug div cannot appear as a descendant of P. And I realized this bug came about, but the why? So why is this happening? Or no, why are we doing it?
Why are you doing it?
Yeah. Because we don't want to have a buggy plugin that spits out wrong HTML.
So he wanted to do something here and it didn't work. And what was that?
Yeah, he got this error message in the browser that says that a div cannot appear as a descendant of P. So a paragraph HTML element cannot have, or is not supposed to have, a div as its child. So
does that mean that he was trying to build his thing locally and he couldn't?
Yes. So he was using this plugin, and then it would build. It's just that you will get this error in the browser, kind of saying that you shouldn't really do this. And you only get this error really if you use the plugin with MDX, which is not fully supported yet. But this prompted me into looking more into how are we doing together with these other bugs that we had that were kind of similar, because I had done a very rudimentary job of looking at the abstract syntax tree and what I was supposed to change out. So this is kind of like our test text, and it's got a intro paragraph with a link inside of it. It's got a link on its own line, kind of as its own paragraph, and then it's got a list that also has a link inside of it. And earlier this week, I did 2 of the bugs. So I fixed it so that links that are inside of a list item are not transformed, and links that have images or anything else than text as its children are not being transformed. So I fixed that. So, this link here inside a paragraph, inside a list item is not, changed. A link that was not the only child of a paragraph has never been changed in the plugin, but we had this bug and also that bug where the link has an image inside of it that was also transformed or looked at as a standalone link. So I kind of cleaned it up and said that only links that are a child of a paragraph, that is a child of the root, and that only has one text child itself, those are the only links that we want to transform into the oembed HTML counterpart. But while I was working on that, I realized why this bug appears, and that is because we were exchanging the link for its HTML counterpart and then deleting the child. So we took that link node, we changed it into an HTML node and added in the HTML that we get from the oembed endpoint. So we're asking YouTube, hey, give me the HTML on how to embed this YouTube video. And we got back an HTML with iframe and stuff like that. And we took the link node and we changed it into that iframe. But we don't want these embed codes, this embed HTML, to be a child of paragraph, because we might be getting back things that shouldn't be children of paragraph. There are kind of their own blocks. So instead of then just doing that node, the link node, and changing that, we changed our code so that we are actually doing the transformation on the paragraph parent. So we are then making the paragraph into its HTML counterpart and deleting all of the children. So that's the how in a visualized way. And then we did that in code, which is not as interesting because it's quite convoluted and connected to the rest of the plugin. But the results then are that, hopefully is this running now? Well, now nothing is working.
But the result you were saying, the result is?
Yeah, the result is that this link that is standing on its own line, a standalone link, it gets transformed into its oembed counterpart, the YouTube iframe, and it's not inside of a p tag anymore when it turns into HTML in the other end.
Which is what we wanted.
But something is wrong right now. But we fixed it. We fixed the text tests. And if you check the GitHub repository in a couple of minutes, the code will be up there with the changes that we did.
And the link is?
In the description below. So the link to this bug is in the description below, and I'll link to it when I create the pull request, and you can have a look at the code if you want to. We would love to have you contribute on the oembed, the Remark-oembed plugin. There are different nice issues here. Some of them are quite old, but they're still, they're still good to do. I have little good first issue labels, and there is also other types of labels here that you can look through. And as always, the contribution documentation is not 100%. So if you really want to get into this, I can do pair programming with you to get you into the code if you want to contribute, because that would be amazing. I guess that's it.
Do you want people to pass your questions to Pierre? And about what? What kind of stuff is he interested in talking about?
He is interested in talking about scraping, and he is very interested, and he has a lot of knowledge on scraping. So it doesn't have to be through the scraping bee service. I think we'll be scraping without using the scraping bee service, and then we'll also, test out using the scraping bee service. So they have a lot of documentation on how you do scraping in general. But there are some things, if you're going to scrape a lot, you will be blocked and stuff like this. So scraping bee helps you, to get past some of the hurdles that you will get into when you start scraping a lot. But for our use case, we'll probably just need to do it without using scraping bee, because we will be scraping the my crowdcast page, I think, so that I can get the crowdcast into the site. So Crowdcast doesn't, the Crowdcast doesn't have a proper API. So we'll be making a local source plugin that will scrape this page and get all the information about the webinars into the page without me having to copy paste, because I'm a developer and we don't copy paste if we don't have to.
So go back to the scraping thing.
Yes. Isn't it
Look
cute,
at the head. The head of the bee is a little bit like Toby's head. Can you see?
Yes, I can see that.
He's got more of a square head, and it's like thicker down, but he's got a little bit similar eyes. And a
similar color as Toby.
And why doesn't Toby have a mouth? That's weird. Yeah.
Toby doesn't have a mouth?
No.
Toby is Lillian's robot that Ola was holding
that
up.
Little black thing there is the mouth, but it isn't, is it? No.
It's the on button.
We're soon going to play the song. Lillian, du må komme. Nei. We should have him like this here. Toby. Toby is going to be part of my story now.
Okay.
And I'll be presenting it some Thursday.
Some Thursday.
Kommer du?
I'm just going to see if I could find Pierre.
Vil du spille, eller skal jeg spille? Oh.
Let's look at them organized.
Du må holde den opp sånn at de ser at du spiller. Skjønner du? Ja. Kanskje du skal komme litt nærmere. Okay. We're gonna sing our song. It won't take long. We're gonna twist. Where this has been another unauthorized and rum-fueled treasure hunt in the sharky waters around the Gatsby Islands. Sweet Queen Raae. I'm your host. I'm your host, Captain Uravia, and this is the Pirate Princess. And next time our guest will be Piero Scraping Bee. Piero Scraping Bee.
Woo!
Bra jobba kompis!
Okay, bye. See you around the interwebs.